everyone, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Keisha, and today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I read in the month of November. So November was a really weird month for me, content-wise and reading-wise. You did not see a lot of content from me because I kind of ran out of ideas, but it ended up being a good thing because I know I definitely needed a break before moving into all of the December content that I have planned. But I ended up picking up 6 books and only finishing 4 books in November, which is kind of crazy, but I do want to talk to you about each of them, so let's just go ahead and get started. The first book that I want to talk about is Spells and Shelves by Elle. This is a book that I was reading in October, but I had to carry it over into November because I hadn't finished it yet, and I honestly can't remember a whole lot about it. I think I ended up giving this book 3 stars, but it is about our main character, Rory Hawthorne, and she is working in this bookshop, and it's a bookshop that her dad used to own, and now her dad's friend owns it, and she still works there. And one day, these strangers come in looking for her dad's journal that she's recently found, and her dad's journal is written in this language that she doesn't know, and these people are looking for it. It's kind of weird, but long story short, she ends up finding out that she is actually a witch, and her father was a wizard, and she has this hidden magical family that she had no idea existed. So now, instead of working at this normal bookshop, she is going to work at this enchanted library that her family owns in this magical world. Everything seems to be going okay until she stumbles upon a dead body in the library, and now there is a murder mystery for her to solve. So this is a cozy mystery, and it is a witchy cozy mystery. I would say it's a fantasy cozy mystery as well. So if that sounds up your alley, you might enjoy this one. For me, this one, just the pacing was a little bit off, and I really enjoyed the first half of it, and then it was just really weirdly written. I don't know how to describe that. I did enjoy it though. I enjoyed my whole read of it, so I did give it 3 stars, but the ending didn't really resolve everything. It resolved like the main murder mystery, but then there were some other things that weren't resolved. And I know this is going to be the first book in a series, but I just felt a little bit underwhelmed by everything, and so I probably won't continue in with it. But this was just another book in my cozy mystery journey. The next book that I picked up was Practical Magic by Hoffman. I really wanted to read this book and watch the movie with my husband, who had never seen Practical Magic before, and I ended up watching the movie with him first, and he did not like it, which I completely get it. I think it's more of a nostalgic thing and just loving Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman and just like, I don't know, having feelings from my childhood about watching that movie. And so I wanted to read the book after that. I really enjoyed the movie. I got about halfway through the book and I wasn't disliking it. I think that's very important for me to say. I was enjoying the book, but I just really wasn't feeling it, and I don't really know how to describe that. I had a really weird reading month, and I just wasn't vibing with this book. This book still follows along the same lines as the movies. So you've got Jilly and Sally, who are sisters, and for more than 200 years, the Owens women have been blamed for everything that's gone wrong in their Massachusetts town. Jilly and Sally have endured this fate. As children, the sisters were forever outsiders, taunted, talked about, and pointed at. Their elderly aunts almost seemed to encourage the whispers of witchery with their musty house and their exotic concoctions and their crowd of black cats. But all Jillian and Sally want was to escape. So one does so by marrying, the other by running away. But the bonds they share will bring them back almost as if by magic. So that is still very much the story, but I feel like the movie, and I don't think the movie's great. I will say that. It's definitely a B movie. I love it, but it's definitely a B movie, and it's very choppy. But the book, whereas the movie is really choppy, the book goes into a lot of detail about things that I didn't care as much about. I don't know, like it's just really weird. So I think it was just a little bit too slow for me. I do think the writing was really beautiful, and I think that it wasn't a bad story, but I did DNF this one. I don't think I'm going to come back to it. I just think there's so many books out there that I'd rather read, and this is part of my tough journey of unhauling and DNFing and all the things to find my favorite books. So I do think that most people would probably enjoy this. It's not really literary fiction, but I could see how somebody who enjoys more literary fiction would like this. But I do think it is a good kind of mild witchy story that is set in the real world, and it has a lot of family drama. So just know that going in. And then next, I picked up one of my new favorite books of the year. I had so much trouble trying to rank this book in my favorites of the year because I kind of try to do that as I go. But boy, was this book a surprise. This book has been on my shelves for a while. It has gone on and off my shelves. It is a book that I was this close, like this close to unhauling because I just thought this is not going to be a book for me. I'm never going to actually pick this up. And I really never wanted to pick it up. But then the movie came out. And I'm like, well, if I'm going to watch the movie, I want to read the book. And I know you guys are just dying to know what I'm talking about. If you've been on my Instagram, it's like the only thing I posted about in November, so you'll already know. But that is The Storied Life of AJ Vickery by Gabrielle Zevin. You guys, this book does not get enough hype. This is such a good story. I could not give this book 5 stars. It was so good. The family elements, like the found family, and then the grief exploration, and just like the sadness and the happiness and all of the things. Oh my gosh. Also, as a book lover, I feel like you can't go wrong with this one. So this follows our main character, AJ Vickery, and his life is not what he expected it to be. AJ Vickery has this bookshop called Island Books, and he's not really enjoying his life as a bookseller anymore. His wife has recently passed away, and he is definitely more of a grumpy character now, but understandably so because this is how he is experiencing grief. And one day, Amy, or Amelia, who works for a publishing company, is coming to Island Books to try to sell AJ some books for his store. And he's just not having it. He's like, I don't like all these books. I do like all these books, but he mostly doesn't like most books, and he's very picky about what he takes. And he's just a very curmudgeon-y type character, except he's only in his 30s. So he's not like an older man, he's in his 30s. And so you know from the get-go that, like, okay, are they trying to do a grumpy sunshine trope or something like that? So anyways, AJ has this prized book stolen. And this is like something that he was planning to retire with and close his store. And that unexpected thing happens, but then another unexpected thing happens that's a happier thing, depending on how you look at it. I mean, it's kind of sad from one angle, but happy for AJ. But I don't want to spoil what that is. If you've seen trailers for the movie, then you'll probably know. But just know there's a really sweet found family aspect to this. This does span over long periods of time. But just seeing like AJ grow and the character development he has, and there's another character that comes into play that is literally just like, she stole my absolute freaking heart in this and in the movie, which I do want to talk about the movie a little bit too, but I just can't say enough good things about this. If you haven't read my Instagram review, my thoughts, or I think it's on Goodreads too, but my thoughts were probably more pieced together. But just know, like, this has everything. It has humor, it has romance, it has sadness, it has happiness, it has a love of books. It is very quotable, and I wish so much that I would have tabbed this book because it is so tabbable. It has so many great quotes, and I love it so much. And what's even better is I watched the movie after this, and you guys, the movie held up. The movie, I did not cry in this book. I teared up a little bit, but I didn't quite cry. The movie, oh my word. Like in the middle, I teared up. At the end, I bawled my eyes out. I was like, are you kidding me? It was just perfection, and I need everybody to read this book and everybody to watch the movie. It's on Amazon Prime. Please, please, please do yourself a favor and do not let this one slip by you. So after reading such an amazing book, I had no idea what to read next. I looked at all the books on my TBR and I really wanted to read them, but none of them were really calling to me. And you know how like you get in kind of a book slump after you have a really great book and you're like, nothing is going to top this. And so I was like, okay, maybe I want another bookshop story, or maybe I want to go get another book out of my unhaul pile and see if this is another book that's going to surprise me. So I ended up picking up Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. And I got halfway through this one and decided to put it down. It was an interesting story. It was definitely more sci-fi than I originally thought it was going to be. Honestly, I had no idea what this was about going in. But you have the Great Recession is going on, and Clay Jannon is like a web designer type person. And he ends up going to apply for this job at Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore because I think he gets laid off from his other job. I can't quite remember at this point in time because honestly, the book wasn't that memorable, and I knew that was going to be the case, so that's why I didn't finish it. But it wasn't bad, okay? I need y'all to understand that these books that I don't finish, that doesn't mean they're bad, but I'm just like, if it's just going to be a 3-star, I don't really want to finish it half the time. So halfway through, I was like, you know what? I really don't care. So you've got Clay, and okay, so Mr. Penumbra's bookstore is very strange. You've got the front of the bookstore that has like normal books, and then you've got the back stacks, or the way back stacks, I can't remember what he calls them, where you've got these people that are part of a society question mark, cult question mark, we don't know question mark. I don't know because I didn't finish the book. And I am intrigued to know, but I'm not going to ever finish this book because it's going back in the unhaul box. But you've got these people that come in, and there's just this weird sci-fi, you don't know what's going on element of this book. And it is very intriguing, but like I said, I don't know. And it talks about why I remember that this girl that's in this book works at Google. I will never know. I think it's probably because it took me on this rabbit trail of TikToks where you can see what people do that work at Google, and it just made me really jealous that I don't have a job like that. And kind of dumbfounded that jobs like that exist. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're not going to go down that rabbit trail. Anyways, so this just wasn't the book for me, I don't think, but I don't think it's a bad book. I know a lot of people love this book. I have friends that have rated this book 4 or 5 stars, but I just don't think it was going to be that for me. Maybe it would have been, I don't know, but it was giving me 3-star feelings halfway through. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to put it down. So I did. Y'all see what I mean by like a wonky reading month? Like I read a book that I was finishing in October. Then I read another book that I DNF'd. I got halfway through and DNF'd it, and I feel like I wasted so much time DNFing books. Oh my gosh. But then I read a book I loved. Then I read another book I DNF'd, and then I had to read my middle grade book club's pick, and that was The Day the World Stopped Turning by Michael Morpurgo. I did not feel like reading this book when I first started, but I had to read it because I had to talk about it at book club. This is a World War II historical fiction book, again, that I did not feel like reading. But it was so good. Like, why is all the books that I don't think I'm going to like or that I don't feel like reading steal my freaking heart? What is going on? November, who are you? Like, what did you do to my reading month? Anyways, so this book, okay, Michael Morpurgo, if you don't already know, he wrote the book War Horse, which I've never read. I've also never seen that movie, but I feel like you guys can put like those two together if I tell you War Horse, because War Horse is pretty well known. But this book follows, it's kind of weird because it follows Vincent at first, but Vincent is getting told the story of Kezia and Lorenzo. And Kezia is this Roma girl who helps her parents run their carousel. This is during World War II. And Kezia shows Lorenzo how to ride this wooden horse as the music plays. Lorenzo is this character who lives among the salt flats and the flamingos. He pretends he is a flamingo, and he knows how to heal animals. He knows how to talk to them, and he loves routine and music. And every week he goes to the market with his mother, and that's where he meets Kezia. But then the German soldiers come with their guns, and everything starts falling apart. So Kezia and her family, I don't want to say too much. Let's just say, okay. So in this story, you have Kezia, who's a Roma girl. She's also called a gypsy in this story, which is a derogatory term. But just to give you perspective on, I feel like that's a more well-known term for Roma girl. So I'm saying it, and it is mentioned in this book, but it is a derogatory term. Roma people were not looked highly upon. I still don't think that they all are, probably more today. But I know especially in this time, Roma people were considered just as bad as the Jews, because there were actually concentration camps for Roma people as well. But anyway, so you've got that character. So she is a minority character in this book, or she's a character who is like discriminated against, who's bullied at school. And then you have Lorenzo. And Lorenzo is a boy who has autism. And I don't know if I have read another book with a autistic character or a character with autism. And Lorenzo stole my stinking heart. Stole my heart right out of my chest. He is one of my favorite book characters. Like, right up there with, what's her name? Fern from The Good Sister, which that is a person, she doesn't have autism. I can't remember what it's called. Like sensory, I think she has like sensory, I don't want to say issues. That's not the right word. But you guys know what I'm talking about, like sensory things. But Lorenzo, he literally, like, he heals animals. He sometimes can pretend he's an animal. Like, this boy knows things. He knows when to trust people and when not to, and he is not afraid of anybody, not even the German soldiers. Like, this book. I can't tell you too much about it, but just know this is more about Kezia and Lorenzo's friendship throughout this than it is the war. The war is definitely a part of it. It happens through it. But this isn't a war story where you're going to get the front lines. This is a war story where you're going to get to see how people get brought together, and families and friends and people are brought together through hardship. And I definitely teared up at the end of this. It was just so good. And there's a little bit of a lull in the middle, and it was a little wordy. I know a lot of my kids in book club didn't love this one as much as I did. It was kind of a mixed bag, but I think it's because it was so mature. Like, it's an upper middle grade book, like upper middle grade, lower YA, but oh my word. If you want a good World War II historical fiction that focuses more on family, if you love books like A Place to Hang the Moon by Kate Albus and Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth by Sheila O'Connor, and Letters from the Lighthouse by Emma Carroll, pick this up. This was 4 out of 5 stars, 4.5 probably. I think this was probably a 4.5 out of 5 stars. It just didn't give me the full 5-star feeling, but oh my gosh, it was so good. So for those of you who don't already know this, which is probably all of you except a couple of you that I talk to on a daily basis, it is Monday night when I'm filming this, and you guys are seeing it on Tuesday. So that is why I'm in a weird spot. I've got weird lighting, all the things. And that is because I've been trying to finish this book before I do my wrap up, and I wanted you guys to see my wrap up before my December content started. So I have been reading a book, again, that is something I just did not expect to read. This is a fantasy book. It is 400 pages, and y'all, I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a lot, but there was a little bit of steaminess in this book with some romance, and I really enjoyed it, and I really don't know who I am anymore. Okay, I don't know how this happened, but somehow I decided to pick up Belladonna by Adalyn Grace, and I finished this book, and I really liked it. And again, I don't know who I am anymore, what my reading taste is, because it is all over the place this month. So this story follows our main character, Signa. And Signa was orphaned as a baby, and for 19 years, she has been raised by a string of relatives who have been more concerned with her wealth than her well-being, because when Signa turns 20 years old, she is going to inherit some wealth, and every person that like helps raise her, if they make it to that point, like they'll get rewarded in money for helping raise her. But everybody that she's been with dies. Why? Who knows? So one day another person dies, and Signa gets sent to the Hawthorns. So Elijah Hawthorne is her uncle, and he is grieving his late wife who died in a garden, secret garden. And she has cousins. She has Percy and Blythe, and Blythe is sick. Does this not sound like the secret garden? So it does have elements of that. Anyways, so she's kind of trying, I don't even know how to explain this book. So the way the synopsis describes it is that she goes to live there. You have the mother's restless spirit. So Elijah's wife's restless spirit that's there. And Signa is trying to uncover what has happened because she finds out that the mother was poisoned. So she's trying to solve this murder mystery, and she has this alliance with death, okay? I don't even know how to describe this book. Let me start with Signa and death, okay? I shipped the mess out of these two. I shipped them so hard. And I don't know why. Like, you think, okay, death is like this immortal being who is ages old, and he has known Signa since she was a baby. So it's weird to think like I want these two together, but death, like, he calls Signa little bird, okay? I just cannot. Death is a morally gray character, okay? He's one of those people where you're like, he's not bad. He is blamed for things, but he's just doing his job, you know? And him and Signa's relationship is so stinking. Like, I'm obsessed. Obsessed. If you liked, okay, this is going to be weird because I did not like The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue that much. I gave it 3 stars, okay? This is very similar in some ways to that, like with Luke in that book. So if you liked Luke, you're probably going to like Death. So I know I have a friend with that one. I'm just thinking right now she's going to pick this book up. And then also if you like The Secret Garden, this does have aspects of it, but it's not a Secret Garden story, okay? So you've got, you know, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, The Secret Garden. You got Bridgerton vibes with the balls that they have and the dances and just the, like, high society-ness of it, which I'm not a Bridgerton fan, but I know that Bridgerton fans might like this. It's dark, but it's Bridgerton. And what else? It made me think of Crimson Peak a little bit with something that happened. I mean, I don't want to tell you exactly if you haven't seen Crimson Peak, but there's something that reminded me of Crimson Peak, and it's very gothic, and there's a murder mystery. The only thing is it doesn't go as quickly as a murder mystery, but it was so good. So if you like any of those things, I think you should definitely give this book a try. I was gripped from the beginning, and I will say there was a little bit of a lull in the middle, and like it was like halfway point and the 3/4 of the way point. I don't know, like I don't know how to describe it. There was a little bit of a lull, and the book is written slow, but I'm not used to reading books like this, so I just kind of embraced it. My only qualm, okay, so I was really hoping this book was going to be 5 stars, and I think I'm still kind of deciding on my rating. I just finished this book tonight. I want to give it 4 stars. It's gonna fall somewhere between 3.5 and 4 stars. I feel like it'll probably be 4 because it's gonna be a memorable book for me. But let me tell you why I hesitate to give it higher. It's because they set you up, like Adalyn Grace sets you up for this murder mystery, and all these things happen, and then you have to learn how Signa needs to try to fit into high society, and she's gonna be like debuted and courted, and there's like her being like learning etiquette of a lady, and it doesn't apply to what we want to know in this story. So for you Bridgerton people, you might care, but like the whole time I'm like, I don't care. Can we just get to the good part, you know? So I will say that kind of dulled it a little bit for me, and I wasn't as excited in parts of it, and I was just kind of ready for it to get going again. I apologize if you guys can hear the train in the background. Like, I swear I stopped talking, and then the train, like, I don't know if there's 20 trains outside my house or what, but if you hear them, I'm so sorry. But let's just say this book took me on a journey. It made me realize that I need to pick up more books that I don't think I'm gonna like. Honestly, this whole month of reading has made me realize I need to pick up more things I don't think I'll like, but then also I am trying to narrow down what I want to read. But this book does have a sequel coming out next August, I believe. It's called Foxglove, and I definitely will be picking it up, if anything, because the cover is gorgeous. I don't know if you guys have seen Belladonna's cover, but it's absolutely stunning. Then you have this Under the Dust Jacket artwork as well, which I'm probably doing a really poor job of showing you. And then you have like the end pages. It's absolutely beautiful. Probably one of the most beautiful books I own. But like I said, I really want to hear more people's thoughts on this. I think it was a good book. I'm probably going to give this 4 stars. It's just memorable. And I'm just like, what is wrong with me that I want this girl with death? What in the world? This is just so good. Just pick this one up. Give it a try for yourself if any of the things I mentioned piqued your interest. Okay, y'all, that is all the books that I read in the month of November. I hope you enjoyed hearing me be a little bit chatty about these. I felt like this wasn't going to be as long of a video because I didn't read as much, but I feel like because I read less, I had more thoughts, which is kind of weird. But you'll have to let me know if I have piqued your interest in any of the books that I talked about today, and if you're going to pick any of them up. I would also love to know what your favorite book that you read in November was. And I'm so excited for December. Let's just be honest, like tomorrow's December. I'm so excited for all the December content. If you're here on my channel today on Tuesday, then it is the 29th, and tomorrow on the 30th of November is going to be when my first Vlogmas video comes out. I know it's a day early, but I had to go ahead and get my December TBR out. So be sure to check back in tomorrow. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button down below because that helps my channel out a lot. And obviously hit the notification bell if you want to get notified when my video comes out tomorrow. If you made it this far in the video and you don't really know what to comment, go ahead and leave me a little fall leaves emoji because this is my last fall video because we are moving straight into winter, straight into Christmas season. So go ahead and leave that down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.